Hey everybody, it's Justin from Built, and over the next few videos we are going to gut my entire miter station as well as my dust collection system over here. I have a new dust collector coming very soon. I'm very excited. I get to upgrade from the junky Harbor Freight Special to something that's wonderful. I'll keep a little bit of suspense for that at the moment. The main thing for this video, we are going to gut the top of the miter station only. This miter station was the very first thing that I built in my shop. Everything else has kind of sprawled out from it. And at the time when I built it, it was the house-all for everything that I have. But now that everything's spread out and I've built other solutions, it's actually mostly empty. Like all these containers and stuff, they are completely empty right now. So I'm not really utilizing it this way anymore, so I want to build something a little different, and I want to show you and compare them a little bit, because this might be perfect for you, or maybe my other method, which is more open, that's going to give me more worktop space, might be something that you prefer too. So this way you can see it both ways. Let's get into organization today on Built. So first let's look at the dust collector corner here. Currently I'm using 7 feet by 2 feet by about a 6.5 foot rise over here. That really makes all of this an unusable space, and while I do have some wall storage space that I've put some of my dust collection stuff on, it's a dead corner. I really can't use anything. My new dust collector that's coming is actually low and rectangular, low enough that I will be able to build a countertop all the way over it. So I'm going to gain a huge amount of workspace. I'm going to gain a whole corner again, and then with that counter here, this becomes a really viable wall that I can use. And I'm going to try and build a cool solution here. So before I start ripping this apart, let's talk about it for a second. If you have a small space, you know, if you're one of those shed shop guys and this is all you have, this could be the perfect setup for you. Basically what we are doing is using the vertical space as much as possible. I am putting something in every little bit of space along the wall that I can, and so you can get a lot of stuff on the wall right here. And it is fairly deep, so I can use big crates to just chuck stuff in if I want to. I can use bins, or I can keep it a little bit open and hold screw guns, nailers, all sorts of stuff. The main thing about this is that I'm using the whole space. Now, a difficulty in this is that I have compartmentalized it. And so in the same benefit that I'm doing by making this space this small for this container, now that I don't use these containers anymore at all, what will fit here? I could put some small sheet goods, I guess, in here, but nothing else. So that's one of the reasons why I'm going to change this, is because it's limiting. But again, if you only have a small space, this could be a great solution for you. So next to the miter station, I have this more open concept type of station, let's say. What this station gives me is work table surface, and you can never have enough work tables inside your shop. Just even to put things when you do glue ups or painting or whatever, having a top that you can work at is fantastic. This space still has the bin storage up above, if not more than the other one. And then since it's open, it actually gives me a space to put lights here. So I have a very illuminated space underneath. And arguably, I can still get a lot of storage here on the wall of all different types, depending on what type of holder I make. Obviously, the volume is not there that we could get at the other one. But the trade-off is we get work surface, and we can still hold a lot. It's just different. You wouldn't be able to really do much with a small parts bin thing here, except for maybe one of those, you know, little pulley bin type of things that hang on the wall that I don't like. You could put that in here, obviously, but this space isn't built for that small parts storage like the other one is. This is more to my liking now, and so we're going to open up the other space and kind of make something similar to over here. Okay, so the demo is all done. It's crazy strange to me not having this big structure here, but it's already open and I have these huge workspaces that I have now added to my capabilities here, and I'm very, very happy for that. The next thing I'm going to do is mount these 18-inch shelf brackets up on the wall. I'm going to make my cubbies. Now, in all my time on YouTube, of course, at the end of videos, I say, hey, if you got good content, hit like and subscribe, because it does help me out. But this is the only video that I'm ever telling you, go click that subscribe button right now, because you don't want to miss the following video that I'm going to put out. It's either going to be the next video or the one after. I have come up with the most awesome idea for this miter station, and I checked around on YouTube. Nobody else has done it, so I will be the first. I love inventing things and being the first on that type of thing. It is going to give me a whole bunch of multifunction capabilities. It's going to be able to go with me to the job site if I want to take this saw out of here, and it will be like a 2-second thing for it to come with me, and it will still give me a huge work surface that's unimpeded. So hit that subscribe button. You want to be notified when my next video comes out. When you're mounting these brackets, these 18-inch brackets can hold 600 pounds each. That is great because I'm going to put a lot of weight on here, but it doesn't mean anything if you attach it with deck screws or drywall screws. Those are horrible screws to use. You need to make sure that you're using a structural lag, or these are GRK lag alternative screws. These are really beefy. They're going to make sure that we're going to meet the guaranteed weight holding of this bracket. All right, I have my cubbies done up here. The last thing I'm going to do before going to bed, and I'll continue tomorrow, is put up more of my light bars. Unfortunately, these light bars that I use do not have plugs at the ends of them. Some of these have plugs, and so you can daisy chain your lights one into another. So if you're looking for something like this, you might want to look for something like that because it makes it a lot easier. Since I don't have that, I need to run a power cord the entire length of this cabinet so that I can have power to the different lights. Now, when I'm doing that, I'm doing something that I use with my Christmas light company. So this is lamp cord. It is called 16-2. So it is 16 gauge with 2 separate wires here. And then what I use is a thing called a Gilbert plug. So there are male, this is a male one. And then there are the female ones. And so what I do with these Gilbert plugs is there are 2 metal prongs on the back. So I will take my wire at the end, put it in a little tucked hole, and then I will bend it down so that those 2 metal spikes pierce the sheath of the electrical wire. And then I slide a cap on and take some force. There we go. So now I have a fully functioning male plug. Now, you would put a female on the other end, like you typically do with an extension cord. So male on one end, female on the other. But the cool thing about these Gilbert plugs is I can put as many females as I want on here. So what I'll do is I'll run this line, and I will put a female at each one of the lights in addition to the end of the wire. So what I can do is take the female, and I just kind of snap the end off so the wire can pass through, as you would see here. I can lay the wire over the plug, slide a cap on, and boom, I have a female wherever I want it. Now, interestingly too, I can take it off too and move it if I need to. It will leave 2 little holes in the wire there, and so it is good practice to put a piece of electrical tape there because technically the sheath has been broken, but I can do this all day long and just put a whole bunch of plugs here. Obviously, because this is thin wire, you cannot run a ton of stuff off of here, but LED lights don't take that much. So I can hook several onto here without any concerns of this wire gauge being too thin for that application. When I'm mounting these lights, I use a piece of wood to stage it off of the front of the cubby. If you put it right against the cubby, it will shine halfway into the cubby, and it will shine somewhat out onto your workspace, but you're going to get a heavy shadow because of the bottom of the cabinet. By spacing it off, it's going to light up my workspace more. It's going to penetrate almost 100% of this cubby. It's going to be a better distribution of light. I have fully deconstructed the area and rebuilt it with cubbies and French cleats. This really wasn't that much of a build, so I didn't really want to build a build video out of this. Lots of us have a very, very small space, and so this might be your one and done all functional workstation that you have in your garage or your shed or your shop. So making the most of that space is very important. So let's take a look at some different things between the two different versions and see how it actually played out in real time with how I organized it. So now that I've opened up this space, it kind of presents itself as a French cleat wall on here primarily will be very good for storing tools and other larger accessories. Small parts stuff, there are options for you to make a French cleat mounted thing that will hold some things. In particular, you know, those little drawer type of organizers that they sell. That's not really my thing, but there's lots of people who really like those. You could totally mount that in here too and still have some small part storage. I was lucky enough, there's another video, I'll link it down below, where I made a whole general store cabinet where I have everything. I love it. Now, one thought that I did have, if you wanted the open concept, but you still wanted to be able to do small part storage, again, we go to our cubbies, because even while I had all of these on the wall here, and they weren't that high up, I still had to fully pull these out, put them on a table to open it up and utilize it. So it's not like these were drawers that I could just look into. So you could remove one of these guys, and I could totally still have these up here, and I could put a divider here with the same type of rails that I used in the other one to make it so that I could pull one individually. I'd still be able to pull it out, take it down. Now, if it's really heavy, that could create an issue. If you're shorter, that could be an issue. But it is still an option where I could make this work and still have small part storage. But overall, this is not going to be as small part storage friendly as the more delineated cabinetry was. In my previous version, I had shelving right here. And so, you know, the shelves were already here. It made sense. Let's just put a fence right up against it. And a miter fence is fantastic for being able to just set your measurement and do easily repeatable cuts. I love having a fence. The problem with a vertical fence is if you have wood that is not perfectly straight. So let's say I was doing like fence pickets, which are notorious for being squirrely. It's going to press against somewhere on the fence and thus send out of square our cut over at the miter saw, which is bad. So that is one reason to not have a vertical fence. The other is it's delineating these spaces. So now that I've opened it up, having this in the way would be, again, just in the way. So I don't like that very much. I'm not going to re-add a vertical mounted one. But what I would do if I wasn't doing my crazy thing that I'm going to do in the next video, and so stay tuned for that, I would inlay this into the base of this station. So then I'm still getting my functionality of having my stop block here. I could inlay a tape as well, but I would still have a large flat surface that now I'm able to work on and do all sorts of things when I'm not using the miter station for miter cuts. This is, I think, a much better option. I like that I standardized my cubby storage up top, so it's a much larger storage space. In my previous build, I had a lot of very purposefully built storage spots for very specific things. That is super useful in the beginning, but over time, as what I was putting in there has changed, I ended up having a lot of empty spaces there because I just didn't have something that would fit that space. And it really needed to be completely remade in certain areas in order to make it more useful. By having a larger space, I can just then self-divide it by using crates and other different sorts of organizing techniques. And it kind of makes it feel like you're a little less limited having some larger spaces. In my cubby version, I had all of my nail guns in a lower cabinet, and while it was open and there was a lot of dead space in there, There were areas that were really tricky to get my hands into, and a lot of the space in the back was actually dead space behind the nail guns because I had them moved forward. Here, I've used the exact same holders. I just screwed them to the top of the cubbies up above. And so now I have all this open space. This is a much better way to do it. Now, if you were still going to be doing this in a cubified version like I had before, I would recommend, instead of having it low, moving it up higher and then not putting a shelf between this and the next cubby. That way you can have a large item underneath and it doesn't feel like it's as closed off as it was previously. Over in the corner, I still decided to put another cubby again. I made it a floating cubby so that I can remove it if I change my mind about this at some point pretty easily. But when you have a corner, it's just so hard to reach into the corner. Putting a cabinet here made it a lot easier to access things. I actually just thought of a good idea. I'm going to switch this out after the video. I'm going to put drawer slides on these. That way I can pull the entire drawer out. So contents that are way back here will be able to pull out and be readily available pretty close up. So I think that's a good idea. Also, I made this my battery charger wall, battery storage over here. Because this jetted out, I was able to put pretty much all my chargers here. You know, being somebody who reviews tools and stuff, I need to have a pretty wide array of chargers and batteries and stuff. So this is very much a me problem, but it was a good solution for me. All right, so that was my comparison, open versus closed. There's no wrong or right answer. In fact, you could make a really nice station by doing a hybrid. You could keep this side completely open so you have more workspace. And over on this side, do top to bottom cubbies so that you can have a whole bunch of small part organizers and bins and stuff. There's no right or wrong answer, whatever fits into your workflow. My needs have changed so many times. I keep ripping apart this shop, but I also enjoy doing that too. I love organization, and I'm a little bit obsessive compulsive in, like, I have to find the best way to organize something. If I think about something new, I'm really easy and I want to just rip it apart and build that new thing. Problem that I have. But, you know, as my needs changed up here, they've also changed down here too. Originally, when I built this whole setup, I didn't have a dust collector. I only had a shop vac and it lived under here. Now this is a giant garbage bin that I just throw extra stuff into. And this used to be a whole bunch of different things. That used to be a job site saw, and now it's a giant router table. And guess what? It's too big. So I'm going to put the router into something else, and some other big thing is going to go under there. So ripping apart stuff every once in a while and rebuilding it can be fun. I like it. So the next few videos. Number one, I just found out my dust collector is coming on Friday. It is a Harvey G700 dust processor unit. Fantastic. It's going to be going right here. So my next video will probably be on that one and the progression of dust collectors. So going from a shop vac all the way up to a serious unit. Then we'll be doing the miter station with my secret really cool thing that we're going to be doing that I'm very excited about. And then after that, we're going to be doing the duct work throughout the shop, and we're going to be installing Grit Automation's intelligent blast gate system. It has all sorts of crazy stuff. If you watched my video when I went to the International Woodworking Fair in Atlanta last month, I talked with them there, and now we're going to implement that all through here. It even turns on my air purifier when it detects particles in the air. All sorts of really cool stuff. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get all these cool videos that I'm about to put out. I'd really appreciate it. So I'm Justin from Bittner Built. Stay safe in the shop. I'll see you in the next one.